Today I'll show you an American science fiction film from 1989 called Moontrap. The movie starts with an Apollo mission to the moon. The mission is a small step for man, but it's a giant leap for humankind. Neil Armstrong completes the mission and prepares the spaceship to return to Earth. Unaware of anyone, a robotic eye emerges from the lunar soil and notices the spacecraft taking off. Following that, it returns to the ground after 20 years. NASA launched another spacecraft to the moon dubbed Camelot. Colonel Jason Grant and his partner Ray Tanner are the two commanders of the mission. Ray falls asleep on the way to the moon, while Jason communicates with the NASA base on Earth. A few moments later, Jason activates the emergency alarm. To wake Ray, Ray quickly wakes up and turns off the alarm. He then mocks Ray, claiming that he has already grown too old to fly, following that they share the best nicknames they've ever been given. Jason claims that he was given the name Einstein because of his ability to think quickly. Ray reluctantly admits that he was dubbed the Penetrator because he always went the furthest at each target hearing. This Jason makes fun of him. Jason and Ray eventually make a radar contact. At first they think it's just a lamp-eat-up satellite, but they soon realize it's far too large to be a satellite. From the NASA base, Chuck confirms that it is a massive satellite that has deviated from its normal path. He also assures that it will not harm Camelot. Ray scans it and discovers that it is a gigantic ship. Chuck recommends that one of them go outside and take a closer look. Ray volunteers to go, but Jason wishes to go, so he puts on his suit and walks out. Jason approaches the ship and notices some strange writing. It is challenging for him to understand anything. As a result, he concludes that the ship is historically significant. Jason sends the pictures of the strange writing to Earth. Everyone is unknown of it. As he is about to leave, he discovers a reddish-brown oval thing lying on the surface, which looks similar to an egg, and he has no idea what it is. On his way back to the spaceship, he finds a dead body that he believes is of a historical astronaut. The two commanders return to Earth carrying the dead body and the reddish-brown egg-looking pot. Dr. Burns analyzes the dead body and the egg on the Earth and tells them that the dead body is 14,000 years old, which is not just a history, but prehistory. It indicates that there were astronauts who explored the moon 14,000 years ago. According to Dr. Burns, the pot is made up of a strong alloy more rigid than the stone, and to learn about the inner content they have no other option than to break it. Mr. Haskell refuses to believe anything they say, even after being shown the evidence. He thinks it is all nonsense and refuses to inform the president. The conversation about the remains brought from space enrages Jason and Dr. Burns. Chuck calms them down and asks to have a coffee break. The reddish-brown pot automatically opens up when they all leave the isolation room to go for a coffee break. The robotic tentacles slowly come out from the egg, erupting with a mechanical eye. The tentacles hack into the NASA system and begin reconstructing the tissue of the dead body. It also constructs a cybernetic body out of lab material and dead body parts for itself. A few moments later, a lab technician arrives to check the isolation room and notices that the dead body is missing. She quickly informs security. Soon after, the cybernetic body attacks the lab technician lady, killing her. Meanwhile, the crew continues to argue with Mr. Haskell. Jason informs them that they must go back to the moon to find the ancient base. According to him, there is a good chance for them to discover weapon technologies and advances in space. Mr. Haskell, on the other hand, is unwilling to listen. Ray then claims that the Russians are planning to launch a similar spaceship. Mr. Haskell agrees after hearing this. Jason then reveals his plan, stating that Major George Beck will be the orbital pilot, while Ray and he will go to the surface for research. At the same time, the security breach alarm alerts the entire building, prompting everyone to rush toward the alien to capture it before starting the fire. Dr. Burns approaches the alien, thinking it might be friendly. However, the alien attacks him, so he orders the guards to kill the alien. Nonetheless, the alien takes down the guards one by one. After some time, Jason comes up with a plan to go through the ventilators above. Ray cover fires toward the alien to distract it, enabling Jason to climb up into the vent. Jason then crawls towards the alien, and when he reaches it, he blows off its head with a different kind of gun-like equipment. In the next scene, Jason is working out in his house, and His son soon joins him. Jason is divorced, so his son visits his mother frequently. He returns and tells Jason about his mother. Later, Jason receives a phone call from Ray, prompting him to go to the bar to meet him. Jason discovers George inside the bar as well. Ray rambles on for a while, but also informs them that the government has funded their mission to return to the moon. Furthermore, he declares to them that they will be going on the search and destroy mission to find unique items. In the same manner as above, their mission begins with the launch of their spaceship by the Saturn V rocket. After landing on the moon, Jason and Ray ride on a lunar rover to explore the moon. While riding, Ray is a little scared because he recalls the previous destruction the cybernetic body caused on Earth. Meanwhile, the same robotic eye appears and observes them and their landing space shuttle. It soon rushes to the space shuttle and ultimately turns down its power, damaging it. On the other hand, Jason and Ray discover the alien base and drive towards it. Outside, they notice several skulls of astronauts who have been there before them. Then they take their gun and enter the building. Inside, they discover a large hall and suspect it is some religious ceremonial hall. They proceed cautiously and open the door. They find a woman lifeless inside the room. As soon as the cover above her is removed, they discover that the woman is still alive. She initially believes the two are aliens and grabs their guns. Jason and Ray remove their helmets to demonstrate that they are human. Following this, they discover that the woman cannot communicate in English. However, she refers to herself as Mara. Meanwhile, George notices the aliens moving their landing space shuttle and informs the two others. Inside the alien base, Mara suits up and just as they are about to leave, they are attacked by a spider-like alien. They somehow manage to take it down. With their guns, they discover that their landing space shuttle has gone missing. When they return, it turns out that the landing space shuttle is their mode of transportation to and from the moon. They then follow the aliens' tracks to find their landing space shuttle. After a while, the lunar rover's battery dies, leaving them with no choice but to walk. Sometimes later, they find their landing shuttle. They also learn that an alien named Callium has been waiting for this moment for 14,000 years. They then intend to attack the aliens, but one of them appears out of nowhere and attacks them first. Ray, Jason, and Mara somehow manage to take the alien down, but the other alien emerges. Jason kills the other as well, but Ray is severely injured in the process and dies soon after. On the other hand, George notices that the spaceship is malfunctioning and that something is pulling the spacecraft out of its orbit. As a result, the spacecraft crashes. Jason and Mara are now stranded on the moon. Jason and Mara return to their lunar rover, where Jason sets up an inflatable tent. Jason is broke as his partner has died. He regrets coming on the mission one more time. After a while, Mara comforts Jason and makes love to him. A few moments later, the alien reassembles itself using Ray's body and tears down the tent and attacks them in the tent. Mara quickly grabs the gun and shoots the alien down. Soon after, the other two giant aliens arrive and capture them both. After some time, Jason and Mara regain their consciousness and discover themselves trapped inside the alien ship. They find out the alien ship has different types of species that are already dead, and the aliens are the ones to kill them for the research purpose. Just then, a robotic alien approaches them and attempts to cut off their body parts. Jason is able to free himself in some way. He quickly grabs a metal rod and destroys the robotic alien. He then releases Mara, and the two begin to look for a way out of the ship. On the other hand, Chuck sends another spaceship from the NASA base on a rescue mission. Jason discovers that the aliens waited 14,000 years just to get the landing space shuttle in order to complete their ship inside the alien ship. The aliens have now attached the landing space shuttle to their ship as seen in the movie. After reaching it, Jason goes to activate the space shuttle's self-destruct feature. At the same time, a robotic eye attacks them. The robotic eye almost electrocutes them, but Jason somehow manages to propel himself off the ship by firing his gun forward. Following this, he exclaims joyfully when he sees that it works. When the ship's self-destruction timer runs out, it explodes. Fortunately, Jason and Mara are at a safe distance away from the ship, preventing themselves from causing any harm. Simultaneously, the other spaceship locates and rescues them. In the final scene, Mara is learning to speak English with Jason. She can now explain how she was trapped on the moon for 14,000 years. Mara claims that one of the aliens chose her to convey a warning to the other alien species. Even though she did not want to go, she fulfilled her responsibility. Mara tells Jason how happy she is to be with him at present. Jason then hugs her and says everything is over. It turns out that they are now married. On the other hand, Jason does not appear to be convinced that everything is over. The film returns to the location where one of the reddish-brown pods survives the blast and opens, merging a robotic eye. As is how it ended. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notification so you can watch more videos like this. Movie Lovers Recap.